Hi, it's Sharon Lipinski, the Habit Superhero, and welcome to the Habit Huddle, where I share a quick tip, an insight, or a strategy that you can use to master your habits. Because the only thing that is standing between you and the life you want are the good habits you wish you had and the bad habits you wish you didn't. And in this edition, we're talking about the two different types of obstacles that you will encounter when you're trying to create a new habit. So if you're thinking right now, wait a second, Sharon, I've tried to create habits before in the past and I encountered way more than two obstacles. And you're right, but they fall into one of two main categories. And the first category is external obstacles. External obstacles are things that happen in your life that you really don't have a lot of control over. Maybe you need to take a business trip for work, or your car breaks down, or you get sick. Right? Life happens. There are things that you can't control. And people fall into this category. I know it's hard to admit it, but we can't control other people. So sometimes an external obstacle is a family member who really does mean well, but they keep bringing home ice cream and undermining your success. It's very important to plan for these external obstacles. What can you anticipate right now that's going to be coming up that's going to get in the way of keeping this new habit? And think back to the past. When have you tried to create a habit in the past and you got derailed by an external obstacle? The chances are that that obstacle is going to come back up again. So what is your plan? When it comes to external obstacles, you want to ask yourself, what's going to get in my way? Who or what? And what is my plan for keeping with this habit no matter what? And remember, the minimum requirement strategy here is very powerful. So let's take an example. Let's say you're working on creating a morning exercise habit, and your plan is to do this before anybody else in the house wakes up so you don't get disturbed. But kids are unpredictable. If your kids wake up early, what are you going to do? Well, what if you make them work out with you, but not work out and exercise? Turn it into a morning dance party. You still get your physical activity, and you haven't let this external obstacle derail you. And the second type of obstacle is internal, because sometimes you are your own worst enemy. Sometimes you put up obstacles in your own way. As you're thinking about these internal obstacles, be aware that sometimes they arise because you have an internal conflict. And what I mean by that is that there's a tiny little part of you that isn't sure it really wants to have this new habit in your life. There are two questions that you can ask yourself to kind of illuminate that is an internal conflict at the root of this problem. First question is, what am I afraid will happen if I make this a habit in my life? For example, if you're working on the exercise habit, one of the things you want to have happen is you hope you lose weight. But what if there's a little part of you that's afraid, well, if I lose weight, am I going to attract attention that I'm not going to be comfortable with? That's an internal conflict, right? So you want to move forward, but maybe I don't. And I want to move forward, but maybe I don't. The second question that you can ask is, what do I want to have happen, but I'm afraid won't happen? And if it doesn't happen, I'm going to have to deal with some hurt emotions here. Here's an example. I want to exercise every day because I want to lose weight. And I hope that if I lose weight, I'll finally meet that person that I'm going to spend the rest of my life with. But if that doesn't happen, I'm going to have to deal with a feeling that maybe I'm unlovable. And of course that isn't true, but that is the underlying fear. And if you don't know that that underlying fear exists, you can't talk to it. So you want to find out, is my internal obstacles that I'm throwing up here, is that because I have a conflict? Am I actually afraid of something? But sometimes it's not an internal conflict, it's just really unhelpful internal dialogue. So look back in the times in the past when you've tried to create a new habit and you failed. Well, what did you say to yourself? What excuses did you make? How did you justify not doing this? Come up with all of those reasons in language and then come up with an answer for it. Because guaranteed, if you said it to yourself in the past, you're going to say it to yourself again. So if one of the excuses you give yourself about not exercising every day is, I'm too depressed to do it today. If you've said that in the past, then okay, what's your response to that? What if you said, yeah, you know what? I am feeling depressed today. And that means that I need self-care. And exercise is self-care. So yeah, I am going to exercise today. But since I'm feeling depressed, I want to do something special for my exercise today. I'm just going to dance my butt off to my favorite song. Thanks for joining me for the Habit Huddle. I want to hear from you. Who or what is getting in your way of creating a new habit? Are your obstacles internal or external, and what is your plan for overcoming them? Leave your questions, your comments, your concerns below the video. And if you liked this episode, click the thumbs up button. And if you want more tips and insights on mastering your habits, click subscribe.